before or after your teacher routers the hole so that it has a bit of a curve to it, you can curve the outside edges yourself. Now, you won't be using the router for that. You'll be doing that by hand with sandpaper. So I have a few different pieces of sandpaper here. You might be familiar with sandpaper in general, but if you didn't know there's different kinds, this is how you tell the difference. Usually, if you have a whole sheet, they have a number on the back. This says 150. This one says 210, and this one doesn't have it written on it, but if it did, it would be 100. And those numbers represent the grit. The grit is the coarseness of the sandpaper, and the lower the number, the coarser the grit. So that's 100, that's 150, and that's 220. You can tell that this one's really coarse, this one's sort of medium, and that one's a little more fine. For rough kind of sanding where you're removing a lot of material, you're going to want to use the coarse sandpaper. And then once you're done with that, you're going to move up to the 150 and remove the scratch marks that the 100 made. And then once you're done that, you'll do the last step, which is 220 grit. So we won't be using the 150 or the 220 for this step yet. We're just going to use the 100 grit. And you have a couple options for when you're sanding with sandpaper. One is that you can wrap it around a sanding block. So a sanding block is essentially any block of wood that has a flat surface to it. There's purpose-made ones, but you can make your own as well. So you just wrap it around like so. And this is really good for sanding flat surfaces. But that's not what we're going to do with it. We're going to round the corners. Okay, we're going to start with the ends. So I'll start with these ends, and then I'll do the edges. And I want to do every single edge. These corners, these corners, these corners, every on the bottom and top. I'm going to take the sandpaper, and if I have a new piece of sandpaper, the best thing to do with it is to fold it into thirds, like you're folding a letter. So I'm going to fold it like this, 1, and then fold it again like this, 2. And that means that I can use this surface, then flip it over, I can use this surface, and then I can flip it inside out like that and use this surface. So I can use the whole thing really efficiently. All right. For rounding the corners, we kind of want to make a rounded shape. So we're going to curve it like that while we're sanding in order to give us that curve. Now I said I would do the ends first, so I'm going to start with that. I'm going to sand it all the way along the edge. Not a little bit on one end and a little bit on the other. I want to do the whole edge, and that way I'm going to have a nice consistent curve along the whole edge. Like that. Oops. There we go. And then once I've done both ends, and then I'm going to do the edge. The long edge. There we go. And keep going on that. Now, I didn't do a very good job rounding it. Well, it looks okay, but I want to round it more. How much you round it is up to you, but make it, a decent radius. You're going to do, like I said, this edge, and of course you're going to do the corners as well. Like so. There we go, all the way around.